15 years ago, as Thrun was saying, Nir and I, worked at Morgan Stanley, sort of down the street from here. And we never thought we would sort of make it back to be speaking at the Ford Foundation, talking about the work we've done and other phenomenal people in this room and outside this room. When we left Morgan Stanley, we felt that we had skills, such as vetting management teams, providing them with growth funding, and enabling them to scale on the for-profit side, but kept questioning how come those same skills were not used when it came to philanthropic giving. We kept wondering why the clients that we represented, like Henry Kravis, Tom Lee, and others, would use such discipline and rigor in making investment decisions, again, to purchase companies. But when it came to philanthropy, they would turn their minds off and look at the first organization that stepped in their door. That led us to believe that the systems and processes and rigor that numerous people at Morgan Stanley taught us were used better in philanthropy. And in what better place than in India, the place that my parents and Nira's parents had left in the 60s and 70s. And that's really led to the creation of Dasra. We realized very early on that India was blessed with a large number of social entrepreneurs, many of them that are here today. Individuals who've taken their lives to stop the poverty, the deprivation, and the indignity that faces 800 million Indians that live under $2 a day. While many times in the US we hear about India taking away our jobs, we hear about India being a superpower, we hear about India selling out Madison Square Garden with Prime Minister Modi, what we don't hear about is the lack of toilets that India has. What we don't hear about is the number of children. In fact, every second, every day, a child dies because of diarrhea. Every 8 minutes, a woman dies in India while giving birth. These are the things we don't hear about. Instead, we hear about the positives. And the positives are phenomenal. Since we've moved back to India, economic growth and the world as we know it since September '99 has changed dramatically. India has advanced in many ways, shapes and forms, yet philanthropy now is taking form. And that's really why we created Dasra, was to find the organizations that are doing phenomenal work and provide them the skills, the knowledge, and the networks enabling them to scale. We saw the issues that were at hand in front of us. Numerous statistics that you may see in our Dasra folders or in the postcards left on your table, but we also saw that there were visionary leaders that were trying to make a difference. Dr. Fernandez, who will be speaking later today, is one of them. In 1975, when she started working at a government-run hospital, she was the first person in the country to start a human milk bank, enabling women to store their breast milk so that can be used by other women in the ward. When it came to incubators, which weren't allowed in the hospital because of lack of budgets, Dr. Fernandez ended up buying tube lights and heating lamps in order for these children to survive. She was on the front lines in government hospitals from 1975 to '99, and like most people would assume, when it was time for her to retire, instead of sort of packing up her bags and going home, she decided to start an organization called Sneha. Sneha currently operates across the city of Mumbai, which, as you know, has an estimated of 20 million individuals. The work they do on domestic violence, child malnutrition, and maternal health is path-breaking. In fact, they were quoted in the New York Times in 2002, not because they talked about their successes, but more importantly, they talked about their failures. They realized in order for the social sector to maintain and grow, it was about the failures that needed to come out. And the New York Times captured this, since this was something that most nonprofits, both in India as well as in the US, are not comfortable in doing. Another organization that we helped in 2000 was a group called Magic Bus. Again, Matthew Spacey's here. And we saw that he had an idea of enabling and engaging youth and children through sport. The goal wasn't to create the best cricket players in India, but more importantly, use an activity which mobilized youth and then through that teach issues such as menstrual hygiene, gender equality, and the need for education. They hit head on the fact that 70% of our girls in India don't even know what menstruation hygiene looks like between the ages of 12 and 14, and they talk about it on the sports field. Magic Bus today works with over 250,000 youth and children across the country. And when I sit and speak to Mr. Jeff Braddock from Bridgespan, we talk about scale in the US going from 2 cities to maybe 5. In India, Magic Bus is in 250,000 children on a weekly basis and youth they're working with across the country. Other organizations that Dasra had the pleasure and privilege of supporting early on was a group called Akshay Patra. Akshay Patra, when we started working with them, was feeding 1,200 children on a daily basis in Bangalore. Now they feed over 1.4 or 5 million children on a daily basis. This is the scale that's required in India. This is why we decided to launch the Indian Philanthropy Forum and Dasra Philanthropy Forum here now, 15 years later, because we realized that this issue is so great that we couldn't do it alone. The great thing about India, though, is wealth has been created. And if you look at the Forbes list, we have over 65 billionaires in the country now, many of them that are giving back actively. The issue, though, is less than 10% of our population earn enough to pay income tax. So when you have 1.12 billion individuals earning less than $5 a day and less than 10% paying income tax, clearly macroeconomics is not going to solve this issue. Private philanthropy is needed. And that's really where Dasra has come in. In addition to working with inspiring social entrepreneurs from the beginning, we've also been able to work with inspiring philanthropists. Individuals like the Kiawa Trust, who had little connection to India, decided to put their resources around adolescent girl empowerment in India because they realized the innovations that existed in India were far more powerful than what they saw anywhere else in the world. Through initiatives like that and with USAID's support, we've been able to bring individuals together. For example, a software engineer in Singapore, a doctor in Houston, a group of women from Philadelphia, all to support Sneha's malnutrition program in Dharavi, one of the largest slums in the world. Our research that we do really brings individuals together, various stakeholders, and creates a platform for us all to give. Because the challenge is not about missing a half-day work and coming to this event. The challenge is how do you actually create enough impact, awareness, and action to move, again, the 800 million people out of poverty who earn less than $2 a day. In India, while we've been blessed with the new corporate social responsibility law, which mandates companies give 2% of their net profits to charity, again, that's still a drop in the ocean. And that's why it's after 15 years we decided to start Dasra here in the US to raise awareness, to create platforms, and engage more individuals to participate in the movement of individuals from the poor to the not poor. As humanity, we have a huge opportunity in the next decade to move, again, more people out of poverty than ever before. But it will take innovation, which fortunately exists in India, but it takes partnerships. It takes individuals from here, from there, and from all around the world to come together. It takes multilateral agencies like USAID, family foundations like the Kiawa Trust, and social entrepreneurs on the ground to all come together on the same platform to really create impact. And that's why we decided to start our events here 15 years later. As Tarun stated, when he met us, we were a team of 8. We have close to 80 now. And I think what Tarun and the board pushed us to do back then was help us realize there will never be a perfect answer. Yet, to create awareness, to create the networks, to create these conversations that we've been able to do successfully in India over the last 5 years, it was time for us to start doing that in the US and globally. And for that, I thank you guys for participating not only in today's conference, but for all the hard work you guys have done. Like I said 15 years ago, we never thought we'd be sitting at the Ford Foundation. We never thought we'd have individuals like the Buffetts and Darren Walker and Peggy Delaney speaking. We never thought we could have individuals like Desh Deshpande and Vijay Garodia, individuals who've really changed the landscape of Indian giving, to be on this platform and speak. For us, this is just the beginning. We're fortunate to have Radhika Nair, who's now based in New York in Bridgespan's office, and we're here to make a difference and to create that impact that we've been able to do in a small way in India for the past 15 years. Thank you guys so much for coming today, and I hope you take as much of today as you can, as we hope that these speakers will provide us. Thank you.